Hi, welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real. Today we'll be doing an analysis on Upperhouse. So this is actually one of the very rare one that just come up at the Orchard Boulevard area. So this is actually the impression of how Upperhouse will look like. Okay, so now let's touch on the developers. So for Upperhouse, which is located in Orchard Boulevard, the developer is actually UOL or Singapore Land, which is of course not uncommon to us. We've mentioned a few UOL projects already. Some of the projects that they develop is like Mayor House, Upperhouse, Wharton House.
Actually all
the houses.
One,
Yes, exactly. So long as you see here this kind of house, right, most likely is probably developed by UOL. And for UOL, they are actually very good at developing this kind of very luxe kind of project as well.
Their experience lah.
Yes, so now let's move on to the project information.
Yep, so basically we are at Orchard Boulevard. Actually, we're just right behind Orchard Boulevard MRT, which is actually quite unheard of for this kind of luxe project, right?
Which is, I think some people will say that, hey, actually I got a car, I don't need to be so near MRT. But I guess it's a perks law for your children also.
Good to have.
We are actually just a very short walk next to the MRT. Right? Which we'll touch on at our location map later. We have 301 unit. TOP is in June 2029. Basically, we only have one block itself, but we have a separate block which is a spa area that we will let you know later.
Facilities corner lah.
Correct. Which is very interesting.
So we are also 99-year leasehold, although we are surrounded by freehold, but of course the freehold is at a different price tag.
Which we will talk about this later. Okay, in terms of location, this is where Upperhouse is over here. You can see that this whole area here is actually the Orchard Belt all the way to Dhoby Ghaut. You have your Fort Canning Park here, your Botanical Garden is here. What's most important is actually all this area, right, is actually GCB area.
Yeah.
So for this project, you actually get really good view, which you will see shortly later. And this area is actually the Great World Belt, which of course we know that River Green, Promenade Peak, they are all coming up lah. Okay, so connectivity.
So that is the Thomson East Coast Line, the Orchard Boulevard MRT that we were talking about. So actually Thomson East Coast Line actually makes the whole Singapore very convenient, I realize.
Yes, it's my favourite line actually.
Although I only said it once, but...
I said it once too. Oh no. Okay, but I really like it because it actually connects from the north, right, all the way to like good areas like, for example, Thomson, you got Thomson Plaza. You actually got your Orchard one stop away from your Orchard Boulevard. And then you are 2 stops away from Great Wall. So you are actually 1 and 2 stations away from all the malls and all. And then further down, we have Marina Bay, which is the CBD belt.
And also Ocean Park, you can change to the Green Line as well.
Correct. Then after, if you want to go to the east, right, which a lot of people say east side, best side. I don't know about you, but... So on the right is all the east. So actually, it's very well connected for Orchard Boulevard.
Yeah. So just now, like you mentioned, we are opposite the GCB area, right? So actually, technically, GCB area, we don't really need the MRT. But just saying that this MRT is actually a bonus because the people here actually value privacy and exclusivity, right?
Correct.
So we are actually surrounded by the landed enclave. On the left is the GCB, which is 2 stories, and on the right we have the semi-detached as well.
Yeah, correct. The One Tree Hill.
I actually was supposed that the traffic wouldn't be very heavy over here.
I probably won't be lah because GCB, I think, is very big ma. So actually, even though the plot of land is so big, actually not many GCB
or
also.
the drivers also.
Correct. Then after that, of course, you have your Tangling area and which is your Nasim area, all on the upper hand, and then at the bottom part is actually all the River Valley area.
So on the perspective, right, the Boulevard area, as compared to the Nasim area and the Ardmore area, those two are the more expensive ones.
Correct.
Yeah, so but of course Orchard Boulevard is another area
We are
itself.
the next to them already.
Yes, next to them.
Okay, so looking at the zoom-in view of like the site plan, right, you can see that actually we only have one block over here. We have multiple properties. We have multiple facilities, which we will share a bit later on. Pretty much is actually a zoom-in look of how it is. This is actually where the MRT is located, right next to your project. There will be a future park here as well, and there will be a long drive in over here.
Yep.
So next we'll be looking at in terms of view.
So basically the views, right, it looks a bit complicated right now. But basically what we're trying to say, regardless of whichever facing you get, technically speaking, it's almost unblocked.
Yeah, but later on we will be sharing with you a bit on like some of the screens and fins. Yeah, because we got 重大人物, important people staying at this area.
Very important people staying at the GCB area. So that's why
some need to block out certain things.
Fins is required.
Yeah, and then you can see all the embassy, commission, foreign affairs are all there, right? Yeah. So next we'll be able to see, okay, in terms of like, for example, if you are buying this stack, then this will actually be the view that you'll be getting. Very, very nice view. And if you're buying on the right side stack, right, then you maybe get a little bit of block but cityscape view. Okay, and then if you are facing the back, then of course you will get your very, very nice landed view. Yeah. And then next, we will be talking about some of the facade, how it looks like and all.
Yeah, so why we are focusing a little bit more on the facade is because the buyers around this area, they need to feel that grandness.
Yes. Different one.
Different. So if let's say you are staying in Orchard Boulevard, but your entrance is just like a white gate, then maybe not as appealing to something that has a grand entrance like this.
Correct. Actually, for people that buy into luxury project, they like this kind of impression.
Yeah.
That's why, like for example, yesterday I went to W at Marina View, right?
Yeah.
The moment you walk in, you see the very big W sign already, and then you see the left and right, the show flat also very different from other show flat because they want this kind of luxe.
Actually, even W hotels also have this feeling.
Exactly, lor. So this is the kind of feeling Orchard Boulevard wants to bring out.
Yes.
Okay, so for this elevation plan, basically it's just to show you that upper house is actually elevated from the ground level.
Yes.
So basically your second level is actually not really like second level, you're on a much higher kind of land and ground.
Yeah. So usually this kind of design, they will ensure ventilation that is actually very, very good in the communal level.
Correct. So you can see over here, lor, it's about 19.6 meter from street level.
Yep.
Okay, next we'll be talking about the site map plan. Right now, we can see that over this area, which we will get into it will be the Botanical Villa, which is over here. Very, very interesting. I mean, I never see any other project with this one up. By the way, this one is all free to use because I went for a project recently, right? The spa, you need to pay one. It's run by a company. So when you go and use the spa, you need to pay them. Yeah, so this is actually free. You can book. Of course, our 4-bedder is actually very, very close to the spa area.
Yeah.
This is the long drive in, and later we'll be touching on 4-bedder exclusive, right? You will actually get your car park dedicated per unit per lot.
Yes.
And then your car park will be right below here. Okay, so
one thing very interesting is that this upper house, right, I realized that the bigger units are much lesser. I thought that, for this area, because the larger units are more popular, right? I thought there will be more larger units.
Correct.
But the developer actually made it that the smaller units are more. But we also have to realize that, because the bigger units are more in demand, the developers will usually price the larger units at a higher PSF.
But I also think that maybe they want to have more, smaller units is also to bring in like the new buyers into this area. Yeah, something like that. Like, if not everybody is just buying big units.
Yeah.
Okay, then right over here, this is actually what we mentioned earlier, which is the Botanical Villa. So in it, you actually have a hydro pool, you actually have a spa pool, and you actually have a spa sentry whereby you can book your therapies and then you go there and do your massage and things like that. Very nice because on the next page, you will be able to see roughly how it looks like. And this is actually the breakdown of all the different pools and all.
Yep.
So if you want to have a look, just screen grab this page. And again, this is some of the facade of how it will look like. Next, we'll be going to what we mentioned earlier, which is the visual screening.
Okay, so this one is a little bit more complicated. From what we actually remember, right, the Hillview area also have this thing called fins, right?
Yes.
So that's the label, that's the name for it, fins. But however, in Upper House, right, when you hear balcony fins, that is the aesthetics of the project. That is how the facade of the building.
Yes.
But when we look at visual screening, this is the one that is blocking you to see like the very important figures.
Correct. So it's at an angle.
It's at an angle, so your view will definitely be like staggered
a
way.
little bit lah.
Yeah, so from level 28 onwards, we will have these visual screens because the GCB area, like we said, there's very important people living there. So your high floor unit, your views will be in pieces because of these visual screens.
Yeah,
so there will be some units that has this visual screen in front of your balcony and some at the side. So we have actually indicated all of them here in the red, blue, and yellow.
Correct. So if you want to know exactly what's the distribution like, just pause over here and have a look. But most of the time, if let's say we mention about screen on Upper House is slanted.
Yes.
If we mention about the fin is straight.
Yes.
And usually for example, Hillview, the fin which is straight, right, is to block them from seeing like the army side, right? But ours, the fin is basically a facade of how it looks like, which is more on the 4-bedder side.
Correct.
Go through. Okay. If you're confused, right, if you go down to the show flat, you'll be able to see the sengit one and the straight one, which is slanted and the straight one.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the unit mix, just now we were saying the developer heavily focused on the 1 and 2 bedrooms over here. Total of 1 and 2 bedrooms is actually 169 units of 2 bedrooms and 67 units of 1+ study. So actually, after looking at the possible launch price, right, the 1 and 2 bedrooms actually do present some opportunity, which we will share later.
Correct. So also there's 2 collection. One is signature collection, one is bespoke collection. Basically, it's the material that they use are a little bit different. All right.
So we definitely look at also the demand and supply lah, because for the CCR area, right, just like Robertson Opus, right, if the demand is higher on the larger bedroom types, then we will definitely want to try to go for the larger bedroom, because we want to take into consideration your future resale buyers as well. But if the price point makes sense for the smaller ones, then we'll focus on the small ones, because price point is still at the end of the day quite important lah.
Correct. So again, we have 1+ study all the way to 4-bedder with suite. So if you want to know the distribution, again, you can print screen this page. Now we go into the more important topic, which is the common objection.
Yep. So basically a concern here is that because Upperhouse is located in Orchard Boulevard, it's still in the core central area, right? And then with so many upcoming plots in the River Valley area, especially like maybe River Green launching around 2,600 PSF, right? There's obviously a price gap between Upperhouse and the River Valley plots. So could this be a concern for buyers?
Of course, I think this is something that we have been hearing on the ground. You know, a lot of buyers will be like, Orchard Boulevard, very expensive, might as well just wait for the Great World one, also next to MRT and next to a big mall some more. So I think that is actually a concern that is brought up, and probably if you're watching this, you probably have the same concern as well. But what we are trying to go through next will be showing you about the Orchard Boulevard area versus the prices in River Valley area, although we are all in the core central region area.
Yeah, so I guess all in all, we are trying to say there has always been a price difference between this Orchard Boulevard, Nassim and Grange area as compared to River Valley, because this is a long-standing thing lah.
Correct. And I mean, the whole central area is so big, cannot be everywhere. The whole central area is all the same kind of price.
For people who don't mind living in River Valley, they don't mind like, maybe I can upgrade to this area, Orchard Boulevard. But for people who are insistent on Orchard Boulevard, Grange and Nassim area, probably will not consider River Valley.
Correct.
So there are two different group of buyers.
So this, I think you will have a better perspective of how distribution is like. We are actually over here, okay, Orchard Boulevard area. This whole area, the blue color one, is all the shopping belt. So basically, you are literally in the most famous belt in Singapore. Then over here, the Cluny Park area, Nassim and Upmore, of course, like what you say, the most expensive, most luxurious area, which is beside Botanical Garden. So you can see that actually River Valley area is actually right behind here already. So we are talking about very, very different kind of like products, right?
Yes, that's right.
But because Orchard Boulevard is so close to Nassim, that's why of course over here most expensive. Then followed by here, then maybe you followed by here.
So basically we also want to show you that in the past, right, basically there's always been this price gap between Orchard Boulevard, Nassim and River Valley area. So we have taken both leasehold and freehold projects that is launched around the same time, right? So number one, we go into the 99-year leasehold. We are for Orchard Boulevard, we are looking at 19 Nassim.
Yes, over
right.
here.
For 19 Nassim, the average PSF about 3,004 and Riviere about 2,009. Riviere, although yes, they are in District 3, but nowadays we don't really look at the districts per se, or rather the locality of the project itself. Because Riviere is actually very, very close to the upcoming 5 plots of launches that is coming up. So when we look at the average PSF, right, there's always been a 10 to 20% price gap. And the same goes for the freehold.
So again, Boulevard 88, which is very close to Upperhouse, you are looking at about 3,900 plus average PSF. But the Avenir, which is in River Valley area, significantly slightly lower, which is around 3,400 plus. So these are like, basically proof and evidence to show you that although Orchard Boulevard and River Valley, they are all in central zone, but different pricing point.
Yeah, so I mean, with this gap, it doesn't mean that Boulevard 88 or 19 Nassim, they don't make money. They still do have profitable transactions. But what we're trying to show here is that there will always be a premium in this region.
Correct. So next, we'll be going into the 1+ study analysis. So for 1+ study, we actually have 2 stacks, stack 2 and stack 3, and they are all facing the same direction, which is the landed cityscape facing. One thing to highlight very uniquely about this 1-bedder, I think, which is to some people maybe it's good, some people maybe not really preferred, is they don't have balcony.
Yeah, but they squeeze in a study for you.
Correct. So they have this study, but then again, price point should be quite okay because size small ma. They still squeeze in a study for you, but you don't get a balcony lah.
Correct.
So there's a bit of a difference. Other than that, galley kind of kitchen, you have a dining space, entertainment room lah. One bedder, we always talk about it until we got nothing to talk about it
It's basically
anymore.
just like that lah. But of course, what we also want to compare the neighboring projects. What is the entry price of their one bedder versus Upperhouse?
Correct.
Which is the next slide.
Okay, so now we'll be looking at Nasim, 19 Nasim.
Yeah.
Okay, which is Nasim area lah. 538 square feet. Okay, you can see that the transacted price, the PSF is already 3837. And in terms of price, you're looking at a 2 million to 2.08 million.
Yep.
So we have a price metrics over here.
Yes.
And aggregation, right, from 2009 to 3005, because we don't exactly know how much
At this
it will
point.
be at this point, right? So you can see even from 2009, you're looking at 1.375 as compared to 2 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And then even if I stretch all the way to 3005, you're looking at 1.65 versus 2 million.
Yes.
And a product that is slightly older, and of course our upper house is newer lah.
Yeah.
So
Although I'm not really a fan of one bedroom, right? But actually, to be honest, if really you can get at this price point below 1.5 million, I think there's still a chance that money can be made right here.
yeah, and then again, 1.6 million and all. Actually, just now a lot of people say, oh, Orchard only very luxury people or rich people you can buy, right? But actually 1.6 is still very affordable to especially couples these days. Yeah, and then you have to see for Nasim area, right? They have only a sliding door to master room. It's like a studio, and they don't have a extra study area also.
Yeah. So, but of course, bear in mind the rental yield won't be strong. If let's say you're thinking to buy this for rental yield. So we say that there's potential chance for money to be made over here is because, right, if let's say next time this Orchard Boulevard area, there is no more new launches. And for the similar layout, right, Upperhouse has the lowest price point.
Yeah.
Right, so you really do stand a good chance to make some money out of this.
You will probably attract more demand and like the more mass market and all lah, because everyone else is selling at super high price already.
Yes.
So now we go into 2-bed premium analysis. So for 2-bed premium wise, we actually have two different kind of layout. Actually, they are almost identical, just on the flip side.
Yeah.
Both 700 square feet, right? Just that in terms of view wise, those that are viewing in this area, viewing from this area, right, which is looking at the botanical garden area, there will be visual screen from level 28 onwards.
Yeah. So for layout wise, just now she's mentioned that there's a standard dumbbell, but they interestingly have an enclosable kitchen, which later we'll go through some of the other projects, right? We actually don't really see the enclosable kitchen in the two-bedders.
Correct.
So we move on to the 2+ study because we're merging them together because later we'll be just doing the 2-bedroom analysis as a whole to compare with other projects.
Top choice.
So actually 2-bedroom plus study, right? A little bit more premium. All the kitchen and bedroom and bathroom all got windows.
Correct. Even the study as well.
Even the study also got windows. So the master bedroom, if you realize, right, they have window in the front, which is the standard one, and also at the back, right beside the wardrobe. So basically the cross ventilation here is actually will be very, very good.
Cross wind, which is quite rare lah. We don't really see this a lot in a lot of new launches these days, and it's 2-bedder.
Yeah. So in this region, right, the unit size and layout will be super important for the feel good factor, right? Okay, this is slightly different because when we actually analyze other outskirt projects, you want to go for the smaller, more efficient unit because of the affordability factor, right? However, in this area, right, I feel that this 2+ study, although it's about 64 square feet bigger than the 2-bedroom premium, which will make around 200k difference. However, this layout I feel will make sense in this area because this 2+ study has the additional important parts that matter to the people here lah.
Actually, if I look at this 2+ study, it gives me a lot of feeling like it's a 3-bedder, that sort of feeling, the compact 3, because it has all the, and it's even better than most of the compact 3 because it has all the windows like what you say at the right places as well. And we know that people coming into Orchard Boulevard, probably they want something that is bigger, more luxury. That's why most of them will probably choose 2+ study over 700 square feet. Yeah, even though it's 200 over 1,000 difference, maybe to them $200,000
okay lah.
not too big of a difference lah, huh? Okay, now we go into the price acceptance in Orchard Boulevard.
Yeah, we will compare with 3 products. Number 1 is 19 Nasim. And number 2 is Cuscaden Reserve because it's also nearby. Number 3, we will compare with River Valley.
River Valley area.
Yeah,
Yes.
so basically these 3 are Nasim, Cuscaden and River Valley. So you will then see from here why we say that Upper House is quite undervalued.
Correct.
And we took 19 Nasim's 1+ study because you see 678 square feet. It's actually a 1+ study. And technically speaking, there's quite a lot of wasted space in this 19 Nasim as well. There's a long walkway and the study is there. But basically there's an open concept kitchen.
Kitchen.
And the highest done is actually 2.3 million.
Yes, over here.
But Aga is around 2 million.
Correct.
So actually for Upper House, right, if we're talking about 2,900 PSF to even 3,500 PSF, we're talking at highest at 2.45.
Correct.
So even with the neighbouring project, 1+ study going at highest done 2.3, don't you feel that it's actually quite safe?
Yeah, because you're just paying just maybe, if you compare to this 2.3, you're paying $100,000 more for another extra room.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this will be very, very attractive.
I
and
mean,
also
the study is quite big, not that, but it's not a proper big room.
Correct. So another thing to take note is right now 19 Nasim is actually non-harmonized. Ours is actually harmonized.
Yes.
So later we'll be comparing the same thing, but converting 19 Nasim into a harmonized project. How much?
What will the price are we
be?
expecting?
Correct.
Okay, so there are a few ways to calculate harmonization. So if let's say Upper House 700 square feet is a non-harmonized project today, right? It will be about 750 square feet, about 6 to 8% more than the harmonized size.
Correct.
So
including this.
if let's say today Upper House is bought at 2.1 million, right? Harmonized PSF will be 2.1 million divided by 700 square feet, you will get 3,000 PSF. However, if it's non-harmonized, you'll use 2.1 million, you divide by 750 square feet. Right? So if we compare that to 19 Nasim, right, I will just add 7% into the 19 Nasim price. So if today 19 Nasim is built as a harmonized project, right, the price will be
Around
this
here.
amount,
Correct.
which makes their 1+ study hit the 2.4 million quantum. So now when we look at it side by side, right, it actually makes Upper House a very, very attractive project, right? With today so many launches coming up back to back, right, developer also confirm feel the stress to sell as many units as possible if they can on the first phase. So because now there are also many projects, actually if you realize that even Linden Woods, right, we actually thought 2627,
Yeah.
but actually we come out, start from 2188. So I think there's a lot of projects that's upcoming that are going to have this kind of wow.
Yeah.
Because the new launch prices are not expected to be as high as, or even comparable or even cheaper than resale, because there's just a lot of competition that's coming
that's
up.
why I think developers are a bit more afraid,
Yes.
to price it more expensive, because a lot of people also ask me, they also don't dare, like for example, I'm selling one Marina Garden, then
Yeah.
people will be asking me, why one Marina Garden so cheap?
cheap.
Then they also scared. But after that, I tell them, the whole story about, being in a very, very competitive zone, actually it's good for you,
Yes,
because
yes,
developer
yes.
also scared. So they price it more sensitively.
Yeah,
so isn't
so-
it better for you?
Yeah, but we will expect to see this moving forward.
Correct.
So this is not surprising.
But once something starts to move,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
of course developer up price, then you cannot complain, last time I never take action.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so again, we'll compare the 2-bedroom in 19 Nasim. Why we use the 2-bedroom also, right, is because if let's say this 807 square feet were to be harmonized, we are looking at about 720 square feet. So effectively, the space, right, is almost the same as Upper House.
Correct.
Right, the layout is quite similar, other than the fact that one is a traditional layout and one is a dumbbell layout.
Dumbbell.
However, 19 Nasim, the kitchen, technically speaking, is not enclosed.
So over here,
Yeah, so with these two kind of similar, both no windows everywhere, but the highest done for 19 Nasim is already at 2.98 million.
yeah, over here.
Right, so if Upper House actually launched at 2,900 PSF, right, you're actually getting an 800k discount.
Exactly. Between the older product and the younger product as well.
Yeah, so I think the key thing here is that I think both of us and a lot of our viewers out there, we are very used to our OCR and RCR prices and layouts, right? But the key thing we want to share here is that we don't want to restrict our own thoughts and our own purchase mindset into what
Into Orchard Boulevard.
yeah, because I think the transaction here has shown, right, that this is actually accepted in this region.
Correct. So next we'll be going into similar, like just now what we mentioned, if the 807 square feet non-harmonized one becomes a harmonized one, which we add 7% more. So the PSF will be from here to this point over here. And just now the one that we mentioned, which is the $2.9 million, right now will be standing at about $3.187 million as compared to maybe our upper house. If let's say it's launching at 2.9, it's almost $1 million difference.
Yeah, that's why I suddenly undervalued.
Correct.
So we move on to the Cuscaden area. Same Cuscaden, 1 plus study, 700 square feet. Same as our upper house, 700 square feet. However, Cuscaden Reserve actually, if let's say it's a harmonized project, it will be about 600 plus lah. Right, but again, same price point, 2 million.
Correct.
No enclosed kitchen.
Yes, no enclosed kitchen over here. Some more, this one is like a sliding door some more.
Yeah.
Open concept kind of kitchen, balcony strangely tucked one side.
But the living and dining is nice lah.
Okay lah.
Kinda lah.
What, landscape layout.
Kinda landscape. So, but however, at the same price point, 2 million, right, you get the upper house proper 2-bed, 2-bath.
Correct.
Yeah.
So next, we'll be looking similarly the same thing. So if we convert the Cuscaden Reserve all the way to become Harmonized, right, we will be looking at an increase of PSF, and the price itself definitely will be increased as well. So the higher transacted one, you're looking at about $2.2 million already.
For a 1 plus study. But also bearing in mind, Cuscaden Reserve did reduce their price at some point. So this is the after the reduction already. Yeah, but even after the reduction, it's still higher than our upper house 2-bed, 2-bath.
Or if not, it's similar lor.
Yeah. Okay, so lastly, we go into the River Valley area. So just now we mentioned, right, River Valley and Orchard Boulevard, there's always like a 10 to 20% price gap, right?
Correct.
However, we look at Martin Modern, right? It's a leasehold, 2 plus study.
Yes.
Already done at 2 million.
Over here, yes, 2 million.
But anyway, for this Martin Modern, we take this 764 square feet, and if we harmonize it, it'll be about 700, right?
And these two same size really.
Same size, right? Then these two layouts are similar except the kitchen.
Okay, this is
the kitchen is still the open one. And yet they are already done at almost 2 million.
Yes,
right?
Correct.
So if you can get upper house, which is a better location as compared to River Valley at 2 million, with a more proper layout.
Yes.
I feel that it's a better deal than this River Valley
Correct.
one.
It's I think Upper House is launched during this period of time. That's why in terms of price, it's very, very competitive. And just now, like what you mentioned, we always say that, River Valley area is actually usually much cheaper than the Orchard Boulevard area. But in this case, Martin Modern, you can see that actually, even if it's non-harmonized, right?
Yeah.
The price itself is already very compatible.
Yes.
And if you change this to a harmonized one, right? Wow. It's
Maybe
even more.
they can upgrade lah.
Yeah. Okay, so like now, let's say we change the PSF from non-harmonized, we convert them into a harmonized price, right? Then you can see based on the highest transacted, it's already 2.214. And this is River Valley area resale as compared to like maybe our upper house, which is new as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we are trying to say that upper house pricing is actually very, very attractive.
Yes.
In this way lah.
Yes.
A bit different from how we normally calculate. I think this is the first time that we are using this method to try
I
to
think
show
a little bit confusing. If let's say you really are still confused, you can reach out to us.
Yeah.
We manually calculate for you.
Yeah, because in the first place, last time I was also very confused. Like, why is it 7%? That kind of thing. So if you want to know the backstory, just reach out to us. We'll explain to you.
Yes.
So 2-bed top choice, right? We will be going for stack 9. Which is the 2 plus study.
Yes.
Because like what we mentioned along the way is that most of the time for buyers in this area, they will be looking at the bigger unit type.
Yes.
The bigger the space, the better it is. And 2 plus study likely will be easier to sell in the future.
And the windows in all the necessary places.
Correct.
And the full height windows even in the common room, because I think the other layout, the common room is half height window because of the AC ledge.
Correct. So these are all full height window because the AC ledge is here. Okay, so basically what we mentioned earlier is we prefer the first the stack, which is stack 9, because of all the windows and all, and also because it's 2 plus study. But we also need to bear in mind of all the visual screens because we are facing on the other side, right?
Yeah.
So the better ideal one will be below 28 level lah.
If it's me I'll prefer.
I also lah. Maybe you can buy like 25, 26.
Yeah, not bad also.
Or
Quite high
27
already.
also. Yeah, not too bad. So now we move on to our 3-bed premium analysis.
Yeah, so I think 3-bedroom very easy. We only have one layout. It's actually a very, very livable layout. Actually, if you think about it, you look at this layout, it's like, I've probably seen this layout somewhere else. A lot of places as well. Not saying that this is not a good layout. Actually, this is really a very, very good layout. It's a very standard 3-bedroom layout, very applicable to a lot of Singaporeans out there.
Correct.
Right? The starting price, however, it may be around 10% more as compared to the smaller unit types because it's more in demand, especially in this area. So that's why we put the price matrix to start from 3,200 PSF to 3,700 PSF. But even with this, right, if just now we recall, this is the same quantum as the 2+ study in the 19 Nassim.
Exactly. And also one thing to highlight is although we are the 3 premium, right, because we don't have like those compact 3. So this one actually do come with like a bomb shelter, extra WC. It can be a helper's room. It has a proper dining space, and take note is all this area, right, is not aircon latch. So all the rooms are actually full height window.
Yeah.
So
just
it's a
that the
bit
visual
more
screens
interesting.
from 28 and above lah, same.
Correct. So if you can, try to choose something that is maybe 28th floor and below lah.
Yeah.
Because if you go to the show flat, you will see how it looks like. Okay. Next, we will be going into the 4-bed analysis, which is the most expensive and the most luxury in the whole of Upper House.
So you see 2 layouts here. It's actually not 2 different stacks. It's actually the same stack. It's just that even floor and odd floor.
Yes.
But they do it like that also quite smart lah, because they want to give you the high seating, right, in the
Correct.
living room. So they have to like...
It's an interlocking system.
Right. So the high seating is at 6.35 meters. Free for you.
Yes.
It's not included in the airspace.
Because we are harmonized, ma.
This square footage of 2,056 square feet does include your exclusive car park lot.
Yeah, so yes, correct. So we are harmonized, but basically, like all the void spaces and all is not counted in, but they actually include one special parking lot for you.
Yes.
Remember just now when we say the spa area, right?
Yes.
The car park is actually right below there, but for 4-bedders buyers, you got your own personal car park lot. That means every day you go home, you just park at that lot.
If you have only one car.
Oh yeah, like if you have the second car, probably you need to write into MCSD and things like that lah. But it's included in part of the 2056 square feet layout.
Yeah.
Personally, I think we both went to the show flat already. There is actually a private lift.
Yes.
There is also a junior master.
Yes.
And then 2-bedroom over here, junior master. You have your master room over
It's
here.
actually quite nice.
It's actually quite nice because the material used again is the Rimadiscio one.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Eristemada or something.
Okay.
I cannot pronounce that, but anyway, it's of course of top quality that they use.
Yeah.
Then same thing, I think from what Mel shared earlier, we also believe that the bigger the unit type, probably the more expensive the PSF.
Yes.
So we also start from 3,002 all the way to 3,007. You're looking at the 6 to 7 million kind of range.
Correct. But actually, I feel between these 2 layouts, right, the DP2 will feel better because your living and dining, right, is actually larger because it's in like one straight line. But the DP one is like the living is in one corner. So you may feel like the living a bit like in a pocket like that lah.
Correct. So I think this is also the show flat unit type.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so it feels a little bit more luxurious and all.
Okay, so this is where we have the balcony fins, which is part of the aesthetics of the project.
Yeah.
So the balcony fins will come in 2 places. It's either on the side of your balcony, which is a shorter side, or the longer side. So if it's me, I feel that the shorter side better lah.
Which is over this side is better lah. So this side will be level 7. I mean, it's all indicated here. Level 7, 11, 15, 19,
Later we
22.
will have the top choice with all the levels down there.
Yes, okay, that's great. Because remember, when we are facing this side, right, we don't have the screen thing because the screen one is mostly this side.
Correct.
So this, like what we say again, is fins because it's different thing.
So basically, from this picture, right, this is the short side of the balcony. This is the long side. This is the long side of the balcony. This is the short side, right? So, but there will be some fins, right, that is overlapping the long side of the balcony, which is what we don't prefer if you have a choice.
Correct. Next.
The car park lot.
Yes. So for 4-bedder suite, like what we mentioned, you will have a private car park direct access, which is from here. And then, of course, you will have your own personal car park lots, which is over here. And it's also closest to your unit as well.
So 4-bedder top choice, just now we mentioned, we will list out the
the flooring
levels. Yeah. So I think the top choice is the one that we actually highlighted. Level 7, 11, 15, 19, 23, 27, 31 and 35 because they have the fins on the short side, which you will get your full balcony view. So this is the first choice.
Correct.
But the second choice, right, we will actually go back to DP1 where you have the balcony fins on the short side as well. because you still get to enjoy the full balcony view because view is quite important for 4-bedroom.
Yes. I think people when they buy in 4-bedder, view is one of the most important one. In fact, I won't be surprised the higher one being sold first than the lower one as well.
So the third choice, we'll go back to DP2 with the balcony fins blocking the long side of your balcony, and then the last choice will be DP1 for the fins blocking the long side of your balcony as well.
A bit confusing, don't worry. This one you reach out to us, maybe we will tell you. When you go to the show flat, you'll be able to see how the fin looks like as well.
Yeah.
So for the preview date for Upperhouse will be on the 5th July, which is coming really soon, and the booking date will be on the 19th of July. Okay, so we have come to the end of our Upperhouse presentation over here and analysis. If you have any question, reach out to us. I know in terms of the interlocking system, the view-wise, the fin and the screens and all, it might be a bit confusing. So if you want to know more details, you can always just reach out to us. Another thing is, because this is also the first time that we are talking about, harmonized, then converting in not harmonized, converting into harmonized, and then as compared to our harmonized. So a lot of you might not understand the whole gist of it. So if again you need any help on that, just reach out to us and we'll explain to you in more details.
Yes.
Then we'll see you at the next video. Bye.
Bye.